Hello, and welcome back to my venture across the United States, where I visit each state and cover some of the urban legends and local mythology present in the area. Today, we visit Colorado, the Centennial State. This state is famous for its diverse landscape from the desert to the snow-laden Rocky Mountains, but today, you'll get to hear about a little bit of horror that it has to offer as well. So come with me today as we venture through Colorado and find out if that mine a few hours away from you is really empty, or if some of those miners are still busy looking for gold in the dark of night. Number 1. Cheeseman Park, Denver's haunted park. Cheeseman Park is a popular venue for residents to get outside in the middle of the city of Denver, but unbeknownst to many of them, they may be jogging or walking their dog just a few feet above someone's grave. Early in the history of Denver's Cheeseman Park, it was actually a large cemetery. The graves at this park were supposed to move in the late 1800s, but due to mishandling, not all of the graves were able to be relocated. Because of that, the park was created, and some bodies still lie in wait in the area underneath. It's estimated that about 2,000 bodies are still on site, and that these remaining bodies are responsible for some of the odd occurrences in the park. Some visitors to the park report that as they walk through, they are hit by sudden cold spots, even in the middle of summer, and that they've seen a singing woman vanish while singing, and also that they've seen the park change before their eyes. On top of this, there's a myth that if you stand on the steps of a pavilion in the park on a moonlit night, in front of you, you won't see the park, but you'll see the cemetery that it was in the 19th century. Even if you aren't in the park, it's also said it might still exert its influence on you. People who live around the park report that occasionally a confused or sad individual will knock on their doors or windows. They also report to hear crying and moaning coming from an open grave during exhumation. People walking around the park have also heard similar things, such as whispers in their ears or moaning from somewhere foreign in the park. Most notably, people see the ghosts of children running around and playing about in the park, but when people get too close, they disappear into thin air. Number 2. The Highlands Ranch Mansion. Highlands Ranch Mansion is a relatively modern mansion built in 1891, but despite this, it has a lot of history supposedly still dwelling within its walls. This mansion is about 22,000 square feet with 14 bedrooms, a number of fireplaces, and a number of other rooms such as dining rooms, a ballroom, a billiard room, and more. This mansion sits on the land that was once owned and occupied steadily since the 1500s. One team of paranormal investigators that came to this mansion reported hearing a voice when asking questions with an EVP. They also reported hearing banging on doors that were closed and being reported on both sides. They also got audio recordings of a number of different people speaking, as well as children and an elderly woman asking them questions. Other reports have listed accounts of seeing a girl in a bedroom window after the home had been cleared of guests. This, in addition to the reports of a little girl in a white dress in an upstairs hallway, might be a bit curious. Maybe these two reports are one and the same. As the story goes, the girl is Julia, the daughter of one of the owners, that was neglected after her father remarried, and when she was alive would wander the halls and watch him leave from the bedroom window when he left, just as she does now. There have also been reports of a strong smell of perfume being smelled in some of the rooms of the house. And to top it all off, the mansion has historically hosted paranormal parties, where a team and attendees hunt for ghosts together. Number 3. The Lafayette Vampire. In Lafayette, Colorado, there was a grave of a man named Theodore Fodor Glava. This man was a miner in Colorado, and by all accounts, he was just a lanky Transylvanian immigrant that came to America in pursuit of a higher quality of life. But After his death, events came to pass that painted him in a different light. See, vampires in European folklore weren't always the creatures that feared sunlight, couldn't be seen in mirrors, and had to be invited into a home. They were essentially a corpse that left its grave at night to drink the blood of the living, or a sort of parasite that would create sickness within the community. See, supposedly because Theodore was of Transylvanian descent, his gravestone attracted the attention from locals. Some local Coloradans dug up his grave and supposedly found blood in his mouth, and found that his nails were growing and his teeth were longer than was typical. They dealt with this by driving a stake straight through his heart and burying him again. Now, a unique tree grows around Theodore's grave, straight through the plot of his grave. There are also red rose bushes nearby. It's said that the stake driven through his heart grew into this tree, and that the rose bush grew from his nails. While legend says that the whole stake treatment should have done away with Theodore if he had been a vampire, some residents still say that from time to time they see a strange figure walking around in the area late at night. So, if you're staying in the area, maybe bring some garlic along with you, just in case. Number 4. Tommyknockers. This is another Colorado legend related to the mines. Supposedly, Cornish miners, when they came to Colorado, brought Tommyknockers with them in the 1800s. Tommyknockers are supposedly small creatures that live underground, and the deeper you go, the more likely you are to run into one. You can think of a Tommyknocker as a small, minor version of a leprechaun, so basically a wee person who lives underground. Cornish miners, when they heard odd noises underground which were typically caused by movement in the earth and distant mining activity, would attribute these noises to the creatures. As could be inferred, they are named for the superstition behind them. Supposedly, Tommyknockers knock on the mine walls to warn miners of cave-ins, or they knock on mine walls to cause them. Some were good and some were bad, but the only thing that's for sure is that if you saw a Tommyknocker, you're destined to die, because nobody has seen one and lived to tell the tale. Also, for reasons I'm not going to perpetuate on this channel, it's said that Tommyknockers don't work on Saturdays or some holidays. Eventually, the legend of the Tommyknocker evolved into the idea that dead miners were the ones knocking on the walls to warn living miners of an incoming calamity. In modern times, people on mine tours have supposedly heard their names whispered into their ears by a Tommyknocker who still might dwell below the surface. There is also an Idaho Springs brewery attributed to them, which I've seen pictures of and has incredible artwork of little Tommyknockers on the wall. On top of this, these small creatures have gained enough notoriety that in Telluride, a 4th of July celebration each year begins with a tribute to them, where they set off an explosion of dynamite. Number 5. Riverdale Road. Now, if you follow the YouTube horror genre, visiting Riverdale Road is a staple. To be brief, Riverdale Road is a stretch of road in Thornton, Colorado that has a number of stories ranging from demons to a phantom Camaro to the literal gates of hell being on it. But regardless of what you believe, it seems like a scary place to be at night given how many scary labels the road has been given. Here, I'll touch on a few of the tales surrounding this road. As stated, legend has it that there is a phantom Camaro prowling the streets of Riverdale Road, and the legend says that the Camaro was driving on Riverdale Road when it got into an accident on a hairpin turn during the late 1900s. Now, that car and the phantom owner of it prowl the street with one working headlight, trying to get other cars to race it and driving with them into their demise. Another, even scarier legend is the Riverdale Road hitchhiker. Supposedly, if you're driving the road at night, you might see a hitchhiker on the side of the road, and if you're kind enough to stop for her, she'll get in your car, but after a little while, if you look into the back seats, you'll find that she is no longer in it. Check your car all you want, but there will be no trace of this woman. Finally, another legend has it that the owner of a mansion along Riverdale Road went mad and decided to set his home on fire with the whole family in it. And this mansion fire is actually what gave Riverdale Road its nickname, the Gates to Hell. As this mansion sits behind some iron gates that you can actually still see to this day along Riverdale Road. By the way, yes, this fire really did happen. The missing piece to this real-life mystery is that the man was never seen again, so hopefully if you take a drive down Riverdale Road, you won't find him lurking beyond your headlights. Thank you all for joining me today on this journey through the mountains, cities, and roads of Colorado. If you liked this video, go tell your favorite local Tommyknocker to knock on that like button, and if you want to see more, click on the subscribe button, and I promise you that if you find me on Riverdale Road, I'll get in your back seat and I won't go anywhere, leaving you with plenty of weekly uploads in the future. If nothing else, please make sure that on your evening jog through Cheeseman Park, that you keep a very close eye out for those kids that you always hear playing on the playground but never quite see when you turn that corner. But most importantly, no matter what those ghosts and ghouls tell you, it's always story time.